Looks like we're live. Welcome to Estes Quest, and we are going to be covering TTI There's Treasure Inside, aka the multi million treasure hunt put on by JCB, aka John Collins Black, aka John. All right. Um, so, first, a few announcements to get out there and open. There's a big book signing coming this Sunday, and so I plan to be there. I plan to be there early. It looks like that Barnes and Nobles opens at 10. This is the Barnes and Nobles in Las Vegas on Rainbow Boulevard. So it's 2191 is the address. Pretty easy to remember. Not sure how many Barnes and Nobles there are on Rainbow Boulevard, but if you go to their website, they do already have a little post about it. Hey, what's going on? They King of the Pirates. What's going on, man? Dragon Lady. Hey, how you guys doing? You both are number one. I don't know how that's possible, but two number ones, co-number ones. Anyways, I'll just letting people know that I'm going to be at the book signing, TTI, There's Treasure Inside. That's what this video is going to be about. This live, we're going to cover chapter 4, which is focused on the 96 karat emerald, right? Pretty exciting to cover some stuff about that. But just letting people know, if you are in Vegas, I know it was a little bit last minute. A lot of people have flights that are leaving that Sunday, but if you're still there and you're able to make it, it'll be a good time. I'll be there. We'll get some book signings. We'll ask some stuff to John. Maybe drop the little hint about D&D. See if he wants to, pop on. Be a little bit of a guest on there. But it should be a good time. All right. So I'll probably announce that one more time toward the end of the show. But let's go ahead and get into chapter 4, right? So that's why we're here, trying to find where this treasure is. And so right off the bat, we have this a really nice emerald, nice and green, right? Which, man, this would be a lot easier if green was mentioned in chapter 2 about all the colors, right? Because they kind of lead it up with gold. Then we have red, pink, white, blue, but no green there. All right, but that's okay because we run into red right away. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We're gonna go in order with the quote, right? Which yellow, aka gold, is right there in this poem, right? This is Robert Frost, "The Road Not Taken," right? That's the little excerpt right here on this page, page 47, is two roads diverged in a wood, and there's that long M dash. I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And this is the end, right? This is the last 3 lines of that poem, right? The poem starts out talking about a yellow wood, right? So he's in a yellow wood. So there's one color, this is where, I have trouble. This is why, colors are a thing, and, there's something to do with colors, but what they mean exactly and how to apply them, that's the big question there. One clue short of a treasure hunt. Hey, how you doing? Hey, congratulations again. One clue short of hitting that 3K mark. That was really cool. And congratulations on your first live also, Eric. I hope it went okay. I heard good things about it. So anyways, this is so we start out with Robert Frost. This is the quote. This is the last part of the poem, right? The poem is "The Road Not Taken," and the poem starts out about a yellow wood. So one way to look at this would be, hey, we have our colors to look for, right? It's gold, because that's the first one, the bottom of the lotus, right? It's gold, and then we have then we have white, red, pink, blue. All right, so now this is a subcategory of yellow or gold. Now it gets into green, or is this green comes at the end of the 5 colors we mentioned before, right? It's open for debate, but let's go ahead and go through. Because right there, we're not even through this first page on page 47, and we have red. Now, this is something new that I'm going to bring up. I didn't really talk about this on the first read through. Is that there's almost some directions here, right? You can kind of say he's being very specific with his path, which is very interesting to me. He doesn't just describe, hey, I grew up playing in this path. He kind of talks about how to get to the path, right? He walked down a slope, take a sharp left, crossed something, found a barely worn path. The trail follows a metal fence and then continues past the fence before ending abruptly, right? So that's kind of the 1K mark. Oh, I'm just speaking for the future, man. I'm speaking for the future, the 3K mark that's coming. But congratulations on that. Uh, yeah, so I don't know. That stuck out this last time I was reading it, man. Is that kind of some instructions that come into play? Is this again specifically for the lion's share box? Is there once your boots on the ground, once you find your area, is this the path? Because the title for this, or subtitle, right, is Blaze the Path. So a lot of emphasis on blaze, a lot of emphasis on path, and I don't hear from John the same caution or dissatisfaction with the blaze and the fen hunt. Because again, remember, this hunt is also inspired, I guess, in a way, by the fen hunt. But I don't hear publicly from John any kind of dissatisfaction about the blaze or anything like that, right? Maybe privately, maybe some of you who are his buddies hear him express dissatisfaction about it. Or maybe there's an interview I missed, right? He does a lot of interviews. But yeah, so I think that he kind of sees the blaze as a good thing. So having blaze right there emboldened, and the blaze is not even like there's not really a blaze in the story about the explorer finding the book, finding the vista that we're going to get into in a little bit, and there's not really a blaze in the poem by Robert Frost. So where is he pulling the blaze from? Right, it begs the question. Again, that's just some surface level thoughts coming out here. And then the other subject there in that little line, blaze the path, is path. So I think he's telling you the exact path. Did I? No, I don't think I did, Mewtwo. I don't think I did. Maybe soon. I'm not too worried about it though. I'm not too worried about it. But yeah. um, this is one of the few times in his little introductions that he describes a particular path, and I just thought I put that away, right? I wrote that down on a note card, put that away. Maybe it comes into play later, maybe it doesn't. But again, just to reiterate for those of you who just joined, we have. Oh, okay. All right, I'm back. That was weird. Oh, am I back? Is it still live? My number is not going. Oh, okay, it's going. All right. If you guys can hear me, I think I froze up for a second. But I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm on internet. I mean, I'm on my cell. You have all the colors of a stoplight on this page, right? You've got the green emerald. Okay, well, on this second page, right? You've got the green emerald right here on your left side. You've got the word emerald right there on the front. You have that poem, The Road Not Taken. You have yellow, and then you have red, which I guess is opposite. How does that? Now I'm trying to think of a stoplight. Is a stoplight green, yellow, red? No, it is. It is in the right order. Yeah, yeah. It's green at the top, emerald, and then inside the poem, The Road Not Taken starts out with yellow, and then we have red in front of my scratching away at a red dirt embankment. Okay, so we do all the colors of a stoplight right there. Just spun for a bit. Okay, good. I can hear you. Cool, cool, cool. Gwendolyn, what we got? Hi, I can't make it to the treasure hunt. Con, I hope you're making lots of videos while you're there. I don't know. What did I do last year? Last year, I don't know if I did any on the floor. I'll still be doing my workout videos in the hotel room, and what else? I don't really have any scheduled. No D&D. Maybe I'll do something there. We'll see. We'll see. Chicken nuggets or Applebee's? Applebee's. They got the 2 for $25. Okay, so stoplight's red, yellow, green. So this would be opposite then. This is opposite from a stoplight, because this one we have the emerald, and then we have the yellow, and then we have the red. Anyways, so that's something to keep in mind about stoplights. But yeah, just real quick before we turn to the page, gonna go over this path again and see if it clicks maybe something in you, maybe the area you're looking at. For those of you who maybe already have a boots on the ground area, see if there's a slope, walk down a slope. And I don't know if the 3-bedroom suburban home is a clue or not. But anyways, you walk down the slope, take a sharp left, cross something, right? He crosses a gravelly pavement there, steps onto a path. The path follows a metal chain link fence, and then goes past the fence, continues a little bit longer, ending abruptly. So I don't know. We'll see what to do with that later. But we're moving on. Do I have any more notes from the poem? It's yellow, it's a metaphor, it's the ending, and it describes 2 roads. Yeah, the aspect of 2 roads, maybe put that in a note card. Maybe that applies later. Rivet, what's going on, B&H? Hey, how you doing, buddy? All right, so the path. Okay, so now we've covered red, yellow, green, yellow, red. Now on the next page, we get into clear, which I was like, I don't know, is clear white or... I don't know. I just put a question mark by clear. We're still trying to follow the colors here pretty closely. But then we have the rose quartz, which I believe before this hunt, I would say I always associated red with rose red, right? But now after I don't know, thinking about pasta and rosé sauce, and in this chapter where he says rose quartz would be great, though I've never seen more than a few pink flecks. So I think now rose here is pink, right? Which would be interesting later on in the book when he talks about a flower and talks about a rose. In my head, I'd visualize that as red, but that may be pink, right? Ribbit. Let's just see that ribbit there from B&H. Let's see what else do I have. Rose. Okay, so now we get into, again, not the main character, because I always believe the main character is described in the title, right? So the main character here would be the 96 carat Chivor emerald. And it's still to be determined if I believe the main character is where the clue is, if there's a clue in this chapter. And some chapters don't have a clue, right? Hey, Josh Ball, how you doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday indeed. Yeah, I've never, well, ever since for the probably past 2 years, year and a half, I think 2 years now, I associate Mondays as positive weekend because I work the weekends, so I don't have that Garfield dread of Mondays. Just a little aside. So this is not the main character, right? Rob Levinsky, because I believe the main character is, again, is described in the title. So this would again be like a little sub story, and this is unique. This is not a story in a story, right? Several times he'll have the main character, and the main character tells a story. Rob Levinsky is not telling the story of the Chivor mine, right? If we see I think the transition happens in page 52. And we can see the transition visually because the format, the color of the background page changes, right? From white to like a parchment. And maybe Luis, if he's still watching, that the clue he brought up or interpretation of the color white for the background color of the page matters as an indicator of if there's going to be a clue or not, right? We were talking about this page. This book has white pages, parchment colored pages, and black pages. I like it. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't know how strongly I feel about it because I don't know if that would involve a little bit of knowledge from John to the formatter, right? So to put that in. What's going on, Paul? Hey, what's going on? I guess Paul's repping the Apostolic Church in Louisiana. What's going on, Paul? Anyways, that's just something I'm playing with, the background colors and the pages. So anyways, we see that transition happen on page 52. Right, I don't know if it's going to come through clearly, but this is a parchment color page, and the page before it is a white page. So white parchment. It's kind of a little fuzzy on there. All right, watch the language there, Canyon. We try to keep the cursing to a minimum here, but yeah. So we see the transition, and there's not really. I mean, the transition is this. I'm going to read it out. Research has shown that seeing green lowers blood pressure, slows the heart, and generally creates good feels all around. And the next sentence, emeralds are a truly rare gemstone. They are only formed when two tectonic plates. Then he goes on to the history of the Egyptians, the Romans, and then we get to the conquistadors coming over, and then the Chivor mine. So it's, I mean, it reads kind of well because it goes into the history, but it doesn't. There's no real direct connection from Rob Levinsky, right? So that's why I kind of wonder there. All right. So what else did I have here? Oh, I can see some admiration, and I don't know if it's me interpreting it, but for Levinsky, his business acumen, right? I think John writes a lot about that, and I don't know if that's something we're supposed to key in on. I don't know what kind of clue would be there, or if that's just something that, because John describes them as friends, right? I met Rob before I began this project, and we had become friends. So they're friends, right? And it makes sense that several of the characters in the book are friends. Lightning Rod, what's going on? I'm probably not gonna do that, Potent Spirit. Probably not gonna. But you never know. Maybe those eggs I had this morning are gonna go bad. All right, probably not. All right, so what we got here? Beauty. Beauty's another one, right? So some of the themes we're talking about. All right, yeah, we're gonna give him a chance, but we're gonna go ahead and mute this guy. Do I want to make him moderator or put him in timeout? Probably just gonna hide him. There we go. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of description about his business acumen, right? From describing this is on page 50, where he talks about, reducing his inventory, talks about the pricing. And again, I'm not big on numbers, right? I think later we'll kind of touch a little bit about the GPS and how John views the GPS here, but I really don't think that the numbers are a massive thing. But there's a lot of numbers in that early part of page 50, right? $5, $10, 100, 500, 1,000. Is there a little bit of a pattern there? I mean, you can kind of play around with the decimal points and maybe find something there. I don't know. If people want to go into that, they can, but I'll go ahead and minimize that. So you are live. I thought I'd check on you. You still using my song Lightning Rod? Yeah, man. Not as much, but it is. It does factor in. I think I put it in the back of. I did an interview with a guy named Wick. I don't know if you're still plugged into the hunt or how closely you follow it. But there's a guy named Wick. We just did an interview and I put that in the back. Yeah. So hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Business acumen. All right. Next thing is sparkling versus shining. And this is going to tie in. We're going to go back to chapter 2 here for a second. And I do think that's fair play. I think it's fair to bounce back and forth as you're building your roadmap, right? I think that's fair to do. Good to hear. Good to hear, Lightning Rod. Are you still active in the hunt? Are you still or just kind of checking in every now and then? You've been boots on the ground or anything? Let me know in the comments, or just DM me afterwards, I guess. So, bottom of page 51. I've always considered emeralds to be the most beautiful and majestic gems in the world, which is interesting because he doesn't say one of the. He just says, I have always considered emeralds to be the most beautiful and majestic gems in the world. That's very powerful writing for a guy who's accumulating treasure of all sorts, right? So I'm like, man, that's pretty strong language right there. Let me see if that's anything. Joy and love are kind of, whenever I see those words, they kind of, I pay attention. Beautiful, not so much. I'm going to change that going forward because I'm going through this with a new pair of eyes, and it's been so long since I went through the first time. I saw that word beautiful, and that brought me back to page 37. So page 37 at the end of chapter 2, listen to this. From the finer points, beauty emerges. That's a whole sentence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 words, very short, heavily punctuated, comma in the middle. So that whenever I see a very short, heavily punctuated sentence like that, I look at it as emphasis, right? Whether it's emphasis for the story or emphasis for a clue, right? We're trying to build a path here. And so I have that marked and underlined there. From the finer points, beauty emerges. Now that flows nicely into the next chapter, chapter 3, because it's all about details. But if we carry over the beauty, right, from the finer points, beauty emerges, and we tie that together with, I've always considered emeralds to be the most beautiful and majestic gems in the world. Emeralds don't sparkle, they shine, right? So, and then we get into the whole color green. So to me, I'm building, there's a really strong case for green. He goes into more detail with green here in chapter 4 than he does in chapter 2 when you were kind of describing the patterns of our 5 colors, right? So this would make 6. Why do you suppose he has basically the same picture of the emerald twice in this chapter? I don't know. It is, right? Except it's rotated. It's rotated slightly. Yep. It looks like it's from the same side. It's just, let's see, tilted. Let's see if I can figure it out. Down. I think, yeah. I think if you look at it from the cover and then on page 51, it's tilted down at you. Yeah, why? I mean, is this the only emerald he has? He talks so much, if they're the most beautiful, you think he'd have more than one emerald. For emphasis, whenever I see something as double, especially as close together, I just see it as emphasis. Now, emphasizing what, right? Emphasizing a clue here or emphasizing Green, emphasizing emeralds. I don't know what. I just see it as emphasis. Now and then I'm not as active as I was. And Snow, yeah, Snow's a good one. Hi from Moseram. Moseram, how you doing? How you doing? Or oh, is Moseram a place? I don't know. I'm ignorant sometimes on places of the world, so I don't know if it's hi from Mizoram, like that's Mizoram, and I'm saying hi, or you're from Mizoram. I don't know. Help me out. Good, but thanks for Moses for popping by. Is it pink? Is what pink? It looks green. Uh, I'm scared now when he says is it pink. Although looking at the profile, it almost looks like the a BTME little corner symbol there, but we'll find out. Anyways, where are we at? So, sparkle, not shine. Yeah, there's that part confused me. Emeralds don't sparkle; they shine. Again, heavily punctuated, very short sentences. Emeralds don't sparkle. Period. They shine. Period. Is that a clue? Are we looking for sparkles, not shines? I don't know. I wrote that down. I don't know how that's going to come into play. Sparkle, not shine. Anyways. Then I covered this the last time I went through, so I'm not going to go too much detail about green, everything he says about it. We talked a little bit about he talks about the formation, which again, I see that as love, an opportunity, right? He even calls it give birth to a magical offspring, right? So maybe he wants you to learn the types of emeralds. Maybe, that could be, put it in, showing all the different types, and maybe there's a clue. That's not out of the realm of possibilities, because early on he talks about if you want to research the treasure or something he pops in. He even talks about clues, or maybe even some clues in the historical information about it. So, very well, it could be. Melinda. I don't think I slurped that time. I think that was good. Hopefully that doesn't annoy him if he's watching. Let's see. Finer points, beautiful, love. Next, okay, this is the next call out I have here, 53. Again, if you're watching this, this is not a no, Moses. This is a treasure hunting book. The book is called "There's Treasure Inside." It's written by John Collins Black. Who again, if you're in America, if you're in the West Coast, if you're near Las Vegas, he's doing a book signing this Sunday. What branch? If you're talking military, Marines, Marine Corps, 9 years, most of it in the reserves. But yeah, page. Anyways, I'm not covering the chapters like page by page by page. I kind of did that a little bit more the first time I went through. This time we're trying to call out things that are missed, things that, because now we're about a year into this, right? So we're past a year. So now we're looking for things that maybe were less covered for the past year, all right? Or maybe some of the few things that were covered, no one just ever figured out what to do with it. That's kind of the vibe as we're going through this sentence. No, not Airedale. I was if you're familiar with MOSs, I was 0313 and then 0311 toward the end. Not familiar with that song. Anyways, what's going on? Yeah, reading this book. I guess this is like a treasure hunting book club, I guess might be a way to describe it. Anyways, this is us on page 53. All right. We are, I think this hasn't changed for me, but the Colombian mining engineer Don Francisco, which oddly enough used to be my Spanish name in Spanish class, because I had to fight because my real name is Esteban, so it's a Spanish name, and the Spanish teacher was like, you can't pick a Spanish name. And I don't know if this is common all across the world, but I guess in American schools, when you cover a language, it's common for the teacher to let the kids pick a language appropriate name. So if your name is Jimmy and you're taking French, you might say your Spanish name is Jacques or something like that. So, anyways, my Spanish name was Francisco. I remember I had to like fight the teacher for that one. Anyways, I still think we are Don Francisco, right? And he tells us he's trying to find this legendary Chivor mine, which I believe is a kind of a metaphor. The book starts out with a poem that's a metaphor, right? So I think it's important to look for metaphors in this chapter specifically. It starts out with Robert Frost from The Road Not Taken, which is a metaphor for life, right? So I think that an appropriate metaphor in this chapter for us finding the treasure would be Don Francisco Restrepo trying to find the Chivor mine. So Restrepo had no written directions nor maps at his disposal, which I think starts out is appropriate. It's verified because in chapter 1, we don't have a map. We're trying to make a map to build a roadmap. And as far as written direction goes, that tells me that it's not going to be as simple as it's something like, hey, every 34th line, you assemble them together, and that's your map for the treasure, right? I don't think it's going to be that easy. I'm not really looking much for written directions. And the last thing he says is his expedition was long before the days of GPS coordinates. I also don't think there's going to be GPS coordinates in this. I'm not a big fan of GPS coordinates anyways in any kind of long-term treasure hunt, right? If you're doing a simple 1 week one, if you're doing a 1 month one, a short one, yeah, you can get creative with putting in some GPS coordinates. I just don't believe it's a good way to do a long-term hunt, throwing in GPS coordinates. Oh, spicy takes here. Robert Frost is a mediocre poet. What's up, Zara? How you doing? No comment. I'm not a poet at all. I didn't study poetry, and I barely passed English, so I don't really have room to talk there. Be solid, be grit, sparkle even as you pine. Here lies joy divine. Oh, that seems very. That sounds familiar, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I think that sparkle is definitely a clue. But he says don't sparkle, right? They shine. So maybe look for the opposite of that line, right? Instead of sparkling as you pine, you want to shine. Which shine rhymes with pine, right? Sparkle even as you shine. Anyways. Best way to take down a wild crocodile. Ooh, best way to take down a wild crocodile? Wild crocodile. Oh, can't you keep their mouth shut? Yeah. I think it takes what? Their crushing power is all like closing, but they can't really open it. So if you keep their mouth shut, then they can't open it, right? So that might be the trick. Always carry electrical tape in your back pocket, I guess, if you're going out where there's crocodiles. And hopefully he closes his mouth with you outside of it, and then you just keep it shut. I think that's how I'd probably do it. You don't wanna wrestle it though, because can't they spin right really well in the water, the death roll and death spiral. Anyways, where are we at? Sparkle as you pine. Oh, here we go. Yeah, page 53. This is us. This is the metaphor for us. All right. So if we are we're the expedition and we're trying to find the lost mine, aka the lion's share box, what else can we get from here, right? Besides no written directions, you're not going to be able to find a map for the lion's share. One, because he already used that before. There's a map for the AT box, and I don't believe he repeats methods for hiding stuff, right? And that's not even that's not even an opinion. That's almost fact, because he even talks about when people find the small box, it's not like that's going to help them immensely solve the larger box, right? I can't remember the quote off the top of my head, but he says something like that in one of the interviews. What is the significance of the mine? I need 2 grams of brown sugar. How much? How much would 2 grams of brown sugar be? If you were my neighbor, I'd let you have it for free, because we got a lot of brown sugar, because we do a lot of baking that uses it. Got it. Windy City. I hope that helps if you're fighting crocodiles. What is the significance of the mine? Yeah, I think again, I think that's what we're looking for, right? I still think that's us. We're looking for the mine. Spoken word. Who knows about this treasure? Who knows about the treasure? What are the last estimates? What do you say? Between 1,000 and 2,000, something like that. That's pretty vague, right? He's done a bunch of interviews on a bunch of podcasts, right? But again, I get people every day that pop in on the live and have never heard of it. So it's not like this is a worldwide thing. It's not even really a U.S. wide thing. I haven't seen him on any like Today shows. He was on Good Morning America, like GMA 3 or something once, but he hasn't been like reoccurring, which is fascinating. How often we hear about Forrest Fenn like having a daily slot on like a local news channel. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's a good question. Who knows about this treasure? What's an almost fact? An almost fact is not a fact. It's almost a fact. It's fact adjacent. The Patricia Emerald. Give me a job. Love your patience with Chat Froggy. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, man. Most of the time. Everybody gets a couple freebies. If they get too out of control, then I have to click the buttons and put them on mute. All right, where are we at? Let's tie this back in. Okay, so we're the expedition, right? We have some things to look for in the beginning, right? We have a little bit what we're looking for. But as we're going along, there's nothing like the beginning page, right? There's no specific directions. It just says like they wondered, they searched, right? They were exhausted, yada yada, on one muggy afternoon, and then they see it, and there's not a lot of description for what they saw. It's just they see the green rolling plains, right? That they're looking for between two jagged gray peaks, which is a new color introduction. Um, between these rock towers, they see it, right? They celebrate, they hug each other, they found it, yada yada, happy ending. They get to plunder the earths, and mining is very destructive for the environment overall. But we're not going to get into that. So because this is early in the book, I'm happy with what I found there. I'm not looking exactly for a play-by-play. I'm not looking for a direct metaphor or a direct thing that Don Francisco's expedition did that I can just take and say, oh, I have to do that to find the box. I'm okay with something vague like, hey, you're not gonna be able to find a map. You're not gonna be able to find written instructions. You have to make the map and you have to decode written instructions. And there's no GPS. If that's the only thing I got from this chapter, I'm okay with that because I can stop looking for GPS. I can stop trying to find hold my book at a weird angle and see a map, right? I'm not looking for that. So I'm okay if that's the main takeaway from this chapter. I'm okay with that. Force Fan licked his finger and held up the wind and said, there, happily ever after. Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. Patricia Emerald looks like Devil's Tower. Oh, well, there you go, Devil's Tower. Good luck. Opens door. Zara. That cracks me up. The thrill of Rob's, there we go. I wanted to say this. Yellow, bringing it back to yellow, right, from the Robert Frost, from the Yellow Wood. At the bottom of page 53, they discuss calling off the search, but what keeps them going on? As the light of each morning sunrise greeted them, Restrepo and his men kept making the decision to follow their clue wherever it would lead, right? So the light of each morning sunrise, if you go back to the beginning, I think I either missed this or didn't call it out in the early beginning. He talks about, I wiped the rock on my filthy shirt. This is page 48. I wiped the rock on my filthy shirt, held it up. Sunlight fell flat on its surface, revealing nothing but dark, murky hues. All right, so, and then he kind of with a sigh, right, he drops the rock. So that's a little bit of, with disappointment, right? So it's a little bit of mugginess. But then something, right, because it's still, to this day, it's still unclear to me what. Something gets him the thrill, the bee on a pistol, electric anticipation, right? He plunges his stick to the ground, twisting the dirt with even more vigor than before, right? So it's still unclear to me what that was. I know early on I made a big deal of the analogies and how odd they are, right? A bee on a pistol. One way I kind of explained him is there's an interview that talks about his early babysitter was like a botanist or something. So maybe his babysitter had all these weird botanist-like exclamations or phrases. I don't know. Or maybe they are a clue that we have to decipher the whole way through. I'm not really that focused on it this time. I'm more looking at the light and yellow and sunlight. And so in the exposure of the sunlight there, he doesn't say morning, just sunlight. He finds excitement. Something excites him. And so that leads me back to 53 where they talks about as the light of each morning sunrise greets them, they make the decision to go on. So I just want to kind of pull out that point right there. How similar is this book to that Nicolas Cage movie? You mean National Treasure? That movie, or is there another movie? He does a few movies, right? Nicolas Cage has got some wild ones. You could be talking about Ghost Rider, right? Where he plays a flaming skeleton riding a motorcycle. So or Con Air. And I don't think this book is similar to either of those. But if you're talking about National Treasure, I would say not very. Because, well, one, he doesn't call it out, right? Two, I don't believe this, speaking specifically for the lion's share box, I don't see anything in what I've read the last year that leads me to believe the lion's share is a find this over here, find this over here, find this over here, and that leads you to here. I don't believe it's like that. Nothing I've read or seen or found or heard makes any kind of sense to that way. One, this hunt is very zoned. There's each box has its own biome and zone and area. that's associated with it. So it wouldn't make sense in my mind, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. To be crossing the U.S. for one box and possibly overlap other box areas. It just I don't know. I don't see that as what he's doing right here. To me, this feels very much like all you need is the book, right? That's why he said that a few times in a few different ways. But you have the book, you study the book, you find it. You can look up the history of things brought up in the book, right? That still counts. And that'll lead you to an area you can go and retrieve the box, right? That's why I don't believe there's really any big tie into National Treasure. What we got here? I want justice. Justice. All right. Good luck, Zara, with your justice. I don't know what that means. Good book recommendation for B2 advanced English speaker. I don't know, man. I don't know what level of English speaker I am. I don't know if it's B2. I know a lot of slang and a lot of my grammar is imperfect, and I'm a terrible writer. So I guess just books I enjoy. I like history. I like let's see, biographies on famous people. Most of the time, I guess they're Americans, or they apply directly to American history. Because I guess in the early American history, they weren't really Americans, right? They were Europeans that came over. Nothing's really popping. Okay, yeah, no, you know what? I'm looking across the room and I see a book called The Wager. That might be pretty good for an advanced English speaker. It's pretty cool. It's about it's not really a pirate story, but it's about the British. It's about British exploration ship. They were chasing some Spanish gold ship. They went around with the Drake Passage around South America, and they got caught up in a storm and crashed. And it's like a mutiny. There's a shipwreck. There's gold. There's fortune and glory. There's misadventure. So the book is called The Wager. And the author is pretty good. Some of his stuff has been made into movies. But there you go. DSFF 6288. The Wager. I can't see the author from here. I don't remember off the top of my head. But the book's called The Wager. It's pretty good. One of the last books I read. One of the last things I want to call out, we're about 40 minutes. That's a pretty good time. One of the last things I want to call out is when he talks about trekking through the jungle. So this is on page 55. Fortunately, there is no jungle clearing required to find any of the treasure boxes I've hidden. In that regard, your task is a much, much easier one. All right, so I've taken this a few ways over the months, right? Because I've been boots on the ground several times for the AT box and other treasure hunts as well. And I've done clearing, right? And if you're on the East Coast, the woods are filled with those nasty ground thorns, those vines that in the wintertime they turn brown and the nails just get like so hard and like they get like 2 inches long, like really, really dangerous. And so I've been like, clearing jungle, right? That's what it feels like. And so when I'm reading that again this morning, and I'm thinking, man, maybe because one way people have taken it is like, oh, we're not in the jungle, haha, because there's no jungles in the U.S., right? So you don't need to do that. I guess unless you're counting Hawaii in the continental U.S., right? But the other way to read that is you don't need to do any bushwhacking, right? Because where's the word? What does he say? Bushwhacking. Could have sworn the word bushwhacking was in here. Maybe I just made that up. Yep. Let's see. When I hiked the Andes Mountains, I traveled over well-worn trailways. To bushwhack through those mountain forests, all those many miles is unimaginable to me. All right, so there you have it right there, right? And that brings to mind my time in Little Rock Pond, right? Because a lot of times it was bushwhacking when I went off trail for some of the areas. So now I'm thinking, which kind of fits. This is a little bit of a spoiler alert. The area that I'm looking at to go back to Little Rock Pond, this at the first chance I get, is closer to the snowmobile trails that have already been kind of cleared, and the brush there isn't as thick. It's a little muddy, it's a little rocky, but the undergrowth higher up the mountain, if you go over and down into the shelter by Little Rock Pond, the undergrowth gets pretty thick, and if you you can barely step off the trail on your left or your right. That's how thick it is, right? And so I'm reading this and I'm like, man, is he just talking about the lion's share box? because that's where the whole there's an analogy of a picnic, right? You may pick it up on your way to a picnic. You're not going to bushwhack to get to a picnic spot. So okay, hey Froggy, he's only talking about no bushwhacking, no off trail for the lion's share box. Every other box, it's fair play to bushwhack. I don't know. We'll see. The next time, I'm just gonna check out this area. It's not too far into the woods, and we'll check it out the first chance I get. But yeah, I don't really know. I haven't been boots on the ground for the lion's share box, so I guess whenever I find a spot, I'll have to see how much bushwhacking could be done in that area. But and yeah, he closes out bringing up red dirt again. So red again. So we have, if we're following the book, we have red, yellow. Sorry, we have green, yellow, red, green, 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 red. So if you're trying to follow it through, and there's not an exact count on that green. But that's all I got, man. That's all I got for now. That'll probably close out this chapter. If anybody wants to toss anything up, I'll hang out for a few more minutes. I was thinking he referenced making our map on Google Maps, not about the actual bushwhacking. When the lady asked him about it on the interview, he didn't remember saying it and kind of skirted it. He's done it a few times, huh, Serpent, where he's like, when someone pulls an exact phrase, he kind of like, I don't remember that, right? So, yeah, you could say that's, oh, well, it's not a clue then if he doesn't remember it. Or you could say, it's him acting, depending on how good of an actor you believe he is, or you could just say it's not important, right? He was just writing about when he was reading the research that Restrepo did, it left a heavy impression over how much bushwhacking they had to do, and he just wanted to make it clear to you that we're not going to be going through any jungles, right? So, would your name be Francisco? Wouldn't it be Steve or Steve? My uncle is Frank. We call him Francisco. Yeah. So technically, Esteban is Spanish for Stephen, all right, or you could say Stephen is English for Esteban, depending on the root. But the root word is what? Stephanos, from the Greek, I think, meaning what, a victor's crown or something. So yeah, that's the etymology of whatever it is of my name. But in Spanish class, you just got to pick a fun name, and Francisco always sounded pretty fun. So I don't know. That'd be my name. What up, my boy? What up, Joey Smack? What's going on? Egghead, yep, it's pretty round. I don't know. I guess if I don't wear the headphones, I won't get that dent in the middle. Or was that an urban myth? I don't know. What's going on, Joey? Okay, that's interesting to know. That hairline, yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man. It goes all the way back to like the middle. If I grew up, but I did see a movie with what's his face? Jude Law. And his hairline's pretty wicked too. And a lot of people consider him good looking, so that gives me hope, right? But I just keep it shaved most of the time. I don't know, I'm a few days away from a clean shave. So what we got? Anthony, what's going on, Anthony? How you doing? I would be Don Juan then. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool name to pick. Put Don in front of the name. All right. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it, and then I'll be back on Discord making up treasure clues, I guess. I appreciate everybody watching. We're going to go ahead and sign off for the day. Good to see you, Joey Smack. Ignacio is a pretty good one, man. That's a pretty good name. Because if you're Ignacio, then your nickname is Nacho, right? Isn't Nacho the nickname for Ignacio? That's a pretty cool nickname. I like nachos. Danger Close. I appreciate you popping in, man. Yeah. Joey. All right, we can read through the chat one more time, see if I missed anything. 2 grams of brown sugar. Had a dream about fighting a crocodile. That's wild. Hashtag free nacho. All right, I'm out of here, guys. I'll talk to you later. Wait. No, I did want to say, yeah, real quick. Sunday, if you're still in Vegas, if you're around Vegas, Mewtwo, you asked me that earlier, bro. I've been on live the whole time. I'm not just pooping my pants over here. No, I haven't, but maybe there's something, maybe something's happening in the next 30 minutes. I did have coffee right before the show, so maybe. Sunday, February 1st, Barnes & Noble on Rainbow Boulevard in Las Vegas, right? 2191 Rainbow Boulevard. At 11 a.m., there's going to be a book signing. If you're in the area and you don't have the books are 50% off. You can pick them up there. If you do have a book, you can get it signed, right? JCB will be there himself in person, right? Probably get to say hi, say a few lines to him. I'm gonna be there. The store, it looks like the store opens at 10, right? Going off of Google, that's what it says. So I'll probably try to be there a little bit early. I was prepared to be there by like 8 or 9 if I had to, but if they're not open to 10, I'm not just gonna like stand in line out there. I might get there like 15 minutes early, right? That'll be cool. But yeah, if you're in Vegas, if you're in the area, if your flight for some reason doesn't leave after the convention, which I guess, yeah, I can say that too. The convention's over there. It's gonna be a really great time. Um, Put on by Calazar and Capro, right? That's out there in the plaza. So there's a lot of good information there. We got TreasureCon this weekend. So next weekend, not next weekend, but in March 27th, there's a big Tucson. It's so far away that like I don't know. I'll probably start announcing it closer and closer. But we are trying for a Guinness World Record, so I guess I should announce it every chance I get. All right, guys. Coming to the endless land of this plane. Take care.